All right, we're back to be working with our basic shapes, page 87 in your textbook. So in the first part of this lesson, you're going to create a series of basic shapes, such as rectangles, ellipses, rounded rectangles, polygons, and more. So any shape that you create is composed of anchor points with paths connecting the anchor points. So a square, if we were to draw that out, would have 4 anchor points, and then the wire connecting them would be the paths. A shape is referred to a closed path because the ends of the path are connected. A path, however, can also be open. It could just be a squiggly line where we have an end point, the squiggly line, and another end point. Both open and closed paths can actually be filled with colors, gradients, and patterns. So the first thing we're going to do is create a rectangle. So we're going to come to our rectangle tool, 4th tool over, and just remember that there are extra tools stacked underneath, but we want to go with the rectangle. So if for any reason yours is showing one of these tools, it's just that that was the last used tool and it's still active in the toolbar. So grab your rectangle tool and bring your cursor over into the artboard, and we're just going to press and drag a taller, skinny rectangle, and it doesn't matter what size. So we're going to hold down our mouse and drag. And notice as we're drawing, we have a gray tooltip bar that is telling us how big it is. And every now and then we see some magenta lines show up. Those are our smart guides. So it can tell us when we're at the center point or when we're lined up with other elements on the page. So just draw out a rectangle, and we're going to look at our different anchor points and the lines connecting them, or the paths, and then in the center we have the center point widget, and when you get close to it you can actually click and move it around. So this is where we move this item. So we're going to move it more to the center and toward the bottom. Depending on where you drew it, you might not have to move it too far. Alright, with our rectangle tool still selected, there's another way of making a shape that doesn't involve clicking and dragging. And all we have to do now is we're going to go anywhere in the document and we're just going to click, and we're going to get a floating window. It's over here, and it says, okay, you want a rectangle, what size would you like? And if you know, this is a great way to do it. So we're going to give it a 1-inch width and a 0.1 inch height, and then we're going to say okay, and there is the resulting image. Notice if we can get to that center widget again. Might have to zoom in a little. When we get to that, we can move this around also. And we are going to move that down below our existing shape. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to take that center piece to drag it down. And I'm still using my rectangle tool, which is why it's a little picky and hard to get into that center widget. Sometimes it's easier to switch to your regular old selection tool, the one that we used last week, and select it with that, and that makes it quite a bit easier to move. And notice again, our smart guides are popping up, so when it's perfectly centered, we'll see that magenta line, and we can leave it down there. It doesn't have to be, but I wanted to point out those lines. All right. Alright, we're going to edit the rectangles that we made. So all of the shape tools, except for the star and the flare, but the rest of them do, create live shapes. So live shapes have attributes such as width, height, rotation, corner radius that are editable later. They're live and can be changed later without having to switch from the drawing tool that you're using. So we created 2 rectangles, and we're going to make some changes to the first. So with your selection tool, make sure you've switched to that. Remember, the keyboard shortcut is B. We're going to come up and select this first rectangle, and we're going to take our cursor over the middle bounding point at the top, and we're going to drag it up to make it taller. But while we're dragging, we're going to hold down the Option key, and that's going to make it go taller and longer at the same time. Both ends are going to come out at the same time. When you get to a tooltip that says that you're at about 3 inches tall, it doesn't have to be perfect, so a height 3, let go of your mouse and then your Option key. If you let go of the Option key first and you move it all, it'll change everything. So click to drag, add the Option key, get it to the 3-inch mark. When it's there, let go of your mouse first, then your key. All right, another thing that we can do is we can hover our cursor over a corner point and we get the rounded rectangle. And when we do this, we're going to start dragging it clockwise. If you hold the Shift key while you're dragging, it's going to constrain your rotation to 45-degree increments. So you can't right now, whoops, let me come back here. Right now, I can spin it at little increments, but if I hold the Shift key, my options are at 45-degree angles only. So what we want to do is drag it until the angle shows up at 270, which makes it horizontal. And again, let go of your mouse and then your key on the keyboard. And we're going to leave that shape selected. Back over in our Properties panel, because we have this selected, we see at the top of our properties that we have a rectangle and its current width and height. And in this Transform panel, we can make some changes. We don't want to change them proportionately. We want to change the width and height separate of each other. So we're going to unlock this Constrain button. This is unlocked actually, this is locked. So make sure that it's unlocked. We have the slash through it. We are going to, our width was supposed to be 3, so if you didn't get it right, you can always type it in now to get it exactly 3. And our height, we now want to make a 0.75. So 0.75, and then you can hit Return on your keyboard to accept the change. That changed this shape to be exactly these dimensions, because we had it selected on the artboard. So by default, every shape that we've made has been filled with white, and it has a black stroke or outline around it of 1 point. Because our background, our artboard is white, it kind of appears that maybe this is see-through and we just have an outline, but the fact of the matter is this is filled with white with a black stroke around it. And we can change the color of this rectangle. So with it still selected, we're going to come over to our Properties panel and go to the Appearance panel. And we're going to click on the Fill Color box. And it's going to pop out with a swatch view or a color mixer. Make sure that you're in the swatch view. And we're going to select a brown color, the one that they used in the book. If you hover over these, you're going to get a tooltip telling you what that color is made of. So cyan, magenta, yellow, black, and the exact numbers. The one that they used in the book is this dark brown, 50, 50, not even that one though, 50, 50, 60, 25. There it is, it's this tan version over here. It's not that it matters, but if you are following along with the book, let's all stay on the same spot. So cyan 50, magenta 50, yellow 60, and black or K25 all mixed together come up with that color. And to get this window to go away, you can just click away from it or hit the Escape key on your keyboard. Now we're going to change the stroke or the outline. So we're going to click on the Stroke tab and we're going to take away an outline. We don't want it. So this slash, this red line slash through it means none. So we're going to take that away and again click away or hit Escape. And then we're going to deselect this piece by clicking away from it. And now it's really obvious that that black stroke has been removed. And that's exactly where we want to be. And again, I'm going to do incremental saving. So at this point, I'm just going to do a File, Save As, and I'm going to put, after the name postcard, I'm going to type in 90, just because I know that I'm on page 90 in the book. I'm going to click Save and OK. And then that way, if anything goes wrong, I can always back up to this version and continue working from page 90 forward. Sometimes we don't know when we last saved or how we worked things, and it gets difficult to know where things went wrong. So I like to do this occasional saving by page number when I work through the book. All right, that's that.